What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Fish a Hex. This is Travis here. Today I'm just going to take a couple minutes to answer all the questions that you've had regarding the new 300-gallon tank and stand. A lot of stuff regarding dimensions, where the holes are, how big they are, what type of overflow box, type of glass, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to cover everything between the tank and the stand in this video for you guys to hopefully answer all your questions. So let's go and get into it. All right, let's go and get started by talking about the tank. Now, regarding the length, we're looking at 96 inches. Depth, 24 inches, and height, we're looking at 30, giving us that 300-gallon profile. Now, what's really cool is they have pictures over here that kind of break down everything so you can have a visual aid, but also here on the left-hand side, they go through each panel individually. Now, for the front, we're looking at 5/8 thickness with an ultra-clear color, basically no color at all, and being non-tempered. Now, this is my first system basically having an ultra clear glass. I have seen one other tank in the past with this type of glass, and there was definitely a noticeable difference between kind of the greenish bluish color you get with the glass that we have in regular tanks compared to this. So I'm definitely interested to see how it turns out when there's a coral in it and a ton of fish. Now, moving on to the back panel, we're just going to use regular clarity. It's going to be non-tempered, and I'm going to have them paint it black. Now, I did fail to mention that I wanted the bottom to be painted black as well, but it's not really a big deal because I'll just go ahead and paint it when it arrives. Now, moving on to the left and right-hand side, they're both half-inch thickness pieces of glass, and they're also going to be ultra clear and non-tempered. Moving on to the bottom, we have a 5/8 thickness, and with all my tanks, I like to have the bottom glass tempered just because the amount of rock, if something was to fall, there's a less chance it's going to shatter, and it's just, I feel safer with tempered glass on the bottom. Now, we can go ahead and move down here, and they actually break down each panel individually, which is really cool. I'm really impressed with the layout, what they have going on here regarding the tank. Now, moving on to the back, this is where you guys really asked a lot of questions, kind of what size return lines I'm going to have, what overflow box. So regarding the return lines, I'm going to go ahead and have 3/4 inch drilled about a foot from each side of the tank in and just high enough to be able to fit a normal 3/4 inch bulkhead. Basically the same setup I have on pretty much all my systems. Now, regarding the overflow box, I'm going to be using their stealth box, which I'll show you here. And I'm going to go ahead and do this type of overflow, type kind of like that. I might do a little bit of a variant of it. But regardless, we're going to have the emergency drain and then 2 regular drains here. I will be having a J-Boat DCS 12,000 return pump. So this overflow box is more than enough. And let's go and get back to the plans here. And that's going to be drilled in the center, of course, just kind of like my old 125-gallon center and up as high as I possibly can get. Let's go ahead and move down. Bottom, not really anything to see on that. Sides, again, dimensions, right and left side, nothing to see regarding any kind of holes. And the bottom, or sorry, the top. This is actually the removable bracing that they have on the tank itself, which is cool because if I have any big pieces of rock, which I do have a couple big pieces, just in case they're not big enough to fit here, I can always remove these tops and then slide them into place and put them back on. Now, one thing that they are sending along with this build is this siphon stoppers. Now, because my bulkheads are up so high, I won't be able to put any lids on the tank, but I never planned on doing that anyways, just because I am going to build a canopy just like my other build, put all my lighting in there with ventilation, all that good stuff. And I just like having a canopy because it just brings all the light together. You don't have that kind of filling up the whole room thing, and it just kind of focuses all your attention on the tank. So with that being said, these are going to stick up a little bit higher out of the water, or out of the tank, or better yet, out of the water, I guess you want to say. And it's okay. I don't really put any lids on there, and it's not really a big deal. But those would be pretty cool to see. And I've never used them before, but it does make sense how they work. Basically, the water can't go up out of the water to keep going. So anyways, I think that's pretty much it for the tank itself. Pretty cool layout. All right, moving on to the steel stand. Now, this is actually my official first tube steel style stand. I had one way back in the day that was kind of like the old fish store one. When you put a giant tank on it, it looks like, how the hell can that hold that up? And it looks like it's going to fall over. That type of stand. You guys know what I'm talking about. So ever since I had one of those, I went with 2x4s. I've been going with that ever since, just building my own stands because I felt safer knowing that it wasn't just going to crumble underneath the weight of the tank. But either way, this is going to be the first custom steel stand that I've ever had. And yeah, speaking of custom, we had to make some changes between the layout of the stand as well as the layout of the sump, because if you guys can see here, my original plan was to only have 1 support brace, but after talking to Custom Aquariums, they recommend I went with the 2 just for long-term success. And I'm going to go with what they say because they obviously know what they're doing. And with that being said, I actually have to slide the sump through the side, which is only 22 inches wide. which really isn't a big deal because the sump itself is now 20 inches wide. It was a little bit wider originally, but we actually went a little bit taller and just went with 20 inches wide, and it works out just fine. It gives me an inch on each side, and I'll just slide that as well as the ATO container through the side of the stand, and we'll be good to go. Now, when it comes to the actual back, it does still have the same 3 support braces, but it has cross beams, which is pretty cool. Now, my overall plan is to go ahead and use a piece of plywood on the back, have it painted black, and then I'm going to go ahead and leave the sides and the front open because the sump is going to be absolutely gorgeous, so I want to be able to see it all the time. And so just having the back covered to kind of hide the cement behind the tank as well as the canopy on top and leaving the bottom open should look pretty cool. The bottom, there's nothing really to say about it besides the fact that I'm going to add some 2x4 or not 2x4, but plywood, better yet, to go ahead and support the sump once it's on there. And yeah, guys, basically they sent me these documents. We went through them piece by piece, asked every question that I had to ask, and then signed off on everything. They put it into production. Now, the tank and stand will actually be here tomorrow, and believe it or not, it shipped yesterday afternoon, which was Wednesday, and it's going to be here Friday afternoon. So shout out to Custom Aquariums for how quick that tank is getting delivered. Kind of caught me off guard, and I'm not really ready for it to be here yet. I mean, I am psychologically, but having the hands here to actually move the tank and stand is just not an option right now. So with that being said, I'm actually going to move the steel stand in tomorrow, get the plywood for the top as well as the plywood for the back all ready to go. And then I'm looking at Sunday the 30th. I'm going to do a little get together. So if you are interested in showing up and kind of hanging out for the day and putting the bringing the tank in and putting it on the stand and just hanging out, having some food and some drinks, let me know. Contact me via fishofhex@gmail.com, or my phone number is on the website. Just contact me and we can set up something, and I can confirm that you're going to show up because I need about 8 people to move this. We're actually going to be, the way it's set up, you guys will see in the video when we do it, is I actually have designated parking spots at the townhouse development area. So they're actually going to put the tank and stand in my parking spot that I have for my bike. And then we're just going to have to carry it around the building down the back because they refuse to park on the grass just for liability issues. So it is what it is. We're just going to have to take a little bit of a trip with the tank, so having more people is definitely going to be a plus. Either way, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It kind of answered any of the questions that you had. If you do have any more, please put it in the comment section below. And if you want to help on the 30th of this month to get that tank in here, please let me know because I can use all the help I can get. All right, guys. Either way, I'll see you next time. Peace.